Okay, now we start to assessing LOs, okay, learning outcome. Okay, so the learning outcome must be both essential and accessible, okay, or we call measurable. Okay, we can be able to measure, okay, accessible. Okay, so that when we design the LO, so we have to take note this. Okay, and then assessment itself is simply the process of collecting information about student learning and performance to improve the education. So actually the purpose of the assessment is to improve the education, okay? But at the same time, we collect the information from the student about their performance. Okay, so then we can come out with the mark and so on, for example. Okay, but in the end, so we need to have the something like improvement plan for the as a result of the assessment. Hence, we need the strategy to ensure the assessment is fit to its purpose. So that's why we need strategy actually, because our target is to assess the LO. So need the strategy. Okay, assessing LO now we can divide it by two measurements. So we say direct and indirect measurement. Okay, so the direct measure meaning that directly tied to the performance. So in this case, require students to present, to show, to produce, or to demonstrate their learning, okay, their learning, okay. So I mean their learning performance. So the student need to show to us their performance. So how to do this? I mean, so that we go through the homework assessment, quiz test, and other assessment, or example, the exam. So this is the way we to get the direct, okay, measurement, okay, about the LO. And then indirect, not directly tied to the performance. Okay, so in this case, we capture the information about the student perception, so about their learning experience. So this is the student perception. So that's why we can get it from the survey. For example, various survey. It can be a course evaluation survey, exit survey, alumni survey, retention and graduation statistic. Retention for meaning that actually, so if passing rate our course is low, for example, so actually, so that one is indirectly show us that actually the achievement of our LO is not good. Okay, so if graduate in the course level, for example, if the graduation, okay, rate also is low, is meaning that actually the show us actually indirectly, that meaning that the achievement of the PLOs, okay, is also low. So this is the another example. So indirect measurement of the or assessing LO indirectly. Okay, and then because of the standard 3 requires the teaching staff must be implement diverse and effective teaching learning assessment method. Okay, so we should, okay, explore, okay, various assessment method in when assessing our LOs, for example. Okay, so it can be we use exam, a quiz test, and so on, or can be long short essay. It can be analytical report or presentation, poster, case study, lab report, debate, peer evaluation, discussion forum, and so on. Okay, so this is good to explore, select more, okay, various method rather than just choose one method. Okay. So and then about the alignment. So now alignment. So as we discussed in the previous slide, so we have three main components in this OBE or in this education. For example, assessment, okay, learning outcome and teaching and learning strategy. Okay, so these three components should be aligned. Okay, should be aligned. So in standard 3 2018 required teaching and learning strategy and assessment method are aligned with the learning outcome. Okay, so must be aligned. These three must be aligned. Okay, so this is the requirement of the standard 3. So if not aligned, so meaning we have the problem. If not aligned, we have the problem. So like car, if not aligned, so meaning that we need to send to the workshop. Okay, so that's why. So that's why very important to make it align. So among these three components, so assessment, LO, and teaching and learning strategy. Okay, now see how to make it the align. So okay, so the for example, we look at to the have the triangle here. So assessment, LOs, and teaching and learning strategy, or sometimes we call instructional strategy. So these three must be aligned. So and then we hope there's three here. There will be reinforce each other. Okay. So assessment should be aligned with the LOs. Teaching and learning also should be aligned with LO. Teaching and learning should be aligned with the assessment, and so on. So there must be aligned. Okay. Okay. To make sure this align, these three components. So ask yourself the following question. So about learning outcome, for example. So what do I want students to know how to do when they leave the course? When they leave the course, meaning when they complete the course, for example. So, okay, how do, okay, I want students to know how to do when they leave the course. So meaning that actually this is about the learning outcome. Okay? How to do. So how students able to do. Okay, so this is the outcome. So meaning that we need to identify the outcome, learning outcome for the student. We need to know the learning outcome of our course. Okay, and then in terms of assessment, when you already identify the learning outcome, you have a learning outcome. So about the assessment, so we have to ask ourselves what kind of task, okay, will reveal whether students have achieved this LO. So the LO that we are define, okay, identify for this course, okay. So and then how we assess, I mean, so what kind of the assessment, what kind of the task, so we should do, okay, to reveal, to know that the student already achieved this LO, okay. And then about the instructional strategy, so teaching and learning strategy, what kind of the activities, either in or out of the class, will reinforce the LO or prepare the student for the assessment. So this is that's these three components must be aligned. If you can answer this question, okay, in the good way, so that we can have the align, okay, among these three components, for example. Okay. So we don't want to become misaligned. Okay, misaligned is meaning that it's not good. Okay, so it's a bad thing. So for example, what's the misaligned? For example, here is if the outcome. So say we define the outcome is about the student to be able to apply an analytical skill. Okay? So the outcome is LO is the student able to apply analytical skill, for example. But your assessment measure only factual recall. Okay, so it's not aligned, and then the student will be frustrated. Okay, because the exam does not measure their performance. Okay, because the outcome is about to apply analytical skill, but we ask them, we assess them just only about the factual recall, for example. Okay, so the meaning that it's not aligned. So we can say assessment and LOs misaligned. Okay, so this will be have the problem. Okay, second case, for example, your assessment measures student ability to compare two or more process. So for example, you assess student how to compare, okay, two or more, okay, to compare the two or more process. But in teaching and learning strategy, we are only focused entirely for the summarizing the process, not to compare. Okay, we don't teach them how to convert. We teach them how to summarize the process, for example. But we ask them how to compare. We ask them to convert this process. So okay, in this case also, student will be have problem here because student don't have the knowledge about the of practice to how to convert. Then they don't have the skill, the comparison. So they have the skill for summarizing. So means that also there is the misalignment here. Okay. Wow, we have problem. Okay. So meaning that in this case now we have the misalignment, okay, between the LOs and teaching strategy and teaching strategies and assessment, okay, assessment method. So we don't want this kind of the misalignment happen. Okay. So that's why as the instructional, we have to design our teaching and learning strategy and also assessment. Okay, so must be aligned with the learning outcome. So this is example the well-aligned assessment. Okay, so so from the Bloom taxonomy, they said so say if the type of the learning outcome is to recall or to recognize or to identify. So example, the good assessment is objective test. As objective test, it can be fill in the blank or matching or MCQ test. So that requires students to recall or to recognize the fact only. So so the objective test MCQ is okay, good. And then if your LO is to interpret or ability to compare, to explain, so the activities as a paper or problem set that requires students to compare two or more theory or process to classify case and so on. So will be the good assessment. So if your LO is to apply, able to apply, to execute, or to implement, for example, so the activities such problem set, lab, prototyping, or simulation. So they required to use the procedure to solve or complete familiar or unfamiliar tasks, for example. This will be the good assessment. If you LO, for example, to analyze, to be the student to be able to analyze or to differentiate, to organize. So the activities as the case study, lab project, and student to select relevant and irrelevant part will be the good choice, and so on. And so say if you for design, for example, if you LO is a student to be able to design, for example, or to create or to plan, produce. So activities such research project, essay, website design, or set design that require students to make, to build, to design, or to generate something new. So it will be the good choice. Okay, the well alignment assessment, for example.